This is video 9 of Advaita Vedanta, non-dual monism as taught by Sri Ramana Maharshi. In video 8, we were talking about our true nature as being an awareness screen in which the subject and the object appear and disappear. Here, there is a word called triputi, what is called triad in English, T-R-I-A-D, triad in English, the set of three. The triad is nothing but the seer, the seen, and the process of seeing itself. See, as of now, I am seeing this watch, right? So I, as the ego, I am the seer, this is the seen, and there is this process of seeing. This is called the triad, the triputi. Okay? This triputi arises from the self. Just look at this diagram. Can you see this? Yeah. The bottom line is the self. From the self, this ego, I am the body sense, this arises. This is the seer, right? At the transactional level, at the ego level, this is the seer. All these are seen: body, mind, world, universe, etc. Table, chair, sky, animals, water, everything, the universe, everything is the seen. So this is triputi, the seer, the seen, and the process of seeing. Okay, now this triputi itself is false. Because what is real is only the substratum awareness, existence, consciousness, bliss. So this triputi itself has to subside in this substratum Atma that we are. Once this subsides, what remains is only the self. Can you see this line? Where did this go? This has disappeared. In the sense, this has got submerged, merged in the self. This line is the self. This alone exists always. This is an appearance in the consciousness, pure consciousness that we are. So this is an important thing to note. Triad. So when we discuss Drik Drishyam concept, we said whatever is an object of experience, whatever is seen by us, including the mind. See, the eyes and the other senses function that the mind knows. That we have a mind, we know. So who are we? We are that background awareness only. That not only awareness, it is that which reveals the presence of the mind, the body, the world, etc. The revealer we are and not the revealed. So when we say seer and seen, we are not referring to this ego as the seer. Of course, at the psychological level, the seer is the mind only. But when it comes to realizing our true nature, we are not the triputi at all. We are not that psychological seer, psychological seen, and the process of seeing. No, we are not at all. Even the triputi will disappear. Finally, when we realize our true nature, this triputi will disappear. See, this triputi is equal to moonlight. When we turn our attention to the sun, what use is this moonlight? This moonlight is called reflected consciousness. See, they use two terms, absolute consciousness and reflected consciousness. Bhagavan says, a light arises from the self. Self is what? Background screen. Light arises from the self and it reaches the brain, which is the seat of the mind, and it illumines, it gives power to the mind. The mind in turn gives powers to the senses, and the senses interact and experience the world. When that reflected consciousness, what light falls on the mind is called reflected consciousness. What is original consciousness? Original light, that is Atma. So, borrowed light, original light. Moon is compared to borrowed light. Moon does not have light of its own. It only reflects the sun's light. Same way, mind is not the original self. It is only reflected consciousness. it just reflects, it borrows light from Atma and reveals the world. That is its duty, mind. So can we take the mind as our true nature? No, because it is not original light. It is borrowed light. So what should we do? We should search for that sunlight, which is reflecting on this moon, which is reflecting on this mind. So we need to turn our attention inward. Who am I? Where from does this reflected light originate? Then our attention will get fixed on the sun, which is the original light, pure consciousness, absolute consciousness. So Triputi will also go. Of course, when we do Vicharam, we do through mind only, through intellect only. That is again a part of the Triputi only. But in the end, the Triputi will also disappear, Bhagavan says. What always remains permanently is only pure awareness, pure existence, pure bliss, that we are, the background awareness. Right now also we can take this as Triputi. This is the seer. Through eyes it sees this mobile phone. Seer, seen, and the act of seeing. This is called Triputi. That this Triputi has to subside in the screen, merge in the screen. Of course, the body will not merge. The mind will merge in the screen. This is Triputi. One important thing to note is that we are learning all this theory just in order to move towards the practical class, as they do in school. First they teach the theory of chemistry or physics, then they take the students to the laboratory. So first is theory, then practice. Any amount of theory will not lead us to liberation. Bhagavan has said any amount of study of the scriptures will not give you liberation. Only samadhi will give you liberation, he has said. So we should start moving towards everyday practice. Vivekananda said 1 ounce of practice is better than 20 tons of tall talk. So our focus should now slowly turn away from theory to practice. When it comes to practice, the highest practice that Bhagavan taught is that of inquiry. Who am I? Where from do thoughts arise? Where from does this I thought arise? Which is the birthplace of this I thought? Which is it that is appearing as this I thought? This way we should go on inquiring. For some people, inquiry may not be possible right at the outset. For them, Bhagavan concedes, yes, you can do other preliminary practices. If you say, I want to worship my personal God, by all means, Bhagavan would say, you do that. Because when you worship a God, your own God, you say, God, you are everything, I am nobody. In that process, your mind gets one-pointed and it becomes thin and it merges in the self. Or if you say, I want to practice Raja Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, Bhagavan will say, very good, do it, no problem. You can do breath observation. Bhagavan has endorsed that. Breath observation is just sit in a relaxed position. Just observe the breath. You don't have to push the breath because the breath happens by itself. So, just keep your attention on the breath. The breath goes in, breath comes out. The breath goes in, the breath comes out. Just you can fix your attention on that. Now, the way you wait in a bus stop, when you wait there, how passengers come, go, the same way thoughts will come and go. Never mind. Your focus should be only on the breath. I do counting of breath. When the breath goes in and comes out, 1, 2, 3. This way we can count up to 108 times. Then you can come reverse. Then again you can do from 1 to 108. In between, because of mind's one-pointedness, mind will lose count. Never mind. Just start from wherever you thought you left, or again you start from 1. It doesn't matter at all. And this can be practiced whenever possible. For example, you are in the airport, you are waiting for the flight boarding, then you can do. Not necessarily up to 108 times. You have time to do only 25 times. You can do 25 times breath observation, or 50 counts, or even 10 counts. Even when you are sitting in the toilet, I think we should not spare that time. We can just start observing your breath. Right? These are the methods. Or the fourth method is karma yoga, which is selfless action, being of service to society selflessly. See, not all paths will suit everyone. That is why Bhagavan said, whichever path suits you, you go for it. I did chanting of Om, and whenever I did it about 3 years ago, I did it intensely. Whenever I did the Om chanting, I would forget myself. The mouth would get stuck. I would realize it only later after a passage of time, say 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Then I switched to breath observation. Breath stopped completely. That is when suddenly I got a jerk of my head from left to right to left, like this, like this, like this. I was lying down and I was observing the breath. The breath subsided completely. Then it started moving violently like this. I didn't know what it was. Then I got up and sat. Then my whole body, like the whole trunk started moving like this. Some energy had started from the base, and then later I understood from the Google, this must be what is called Kundalini, the rise of the energy. Even now it is happening, and there are explosions in my brain, or this side of the brain. Lot of explosion has been this side of the brain for the last 3 years. When again I read about it, they say that the silent portions of the brain blossom and all that stuff. I really don't understand. I only believe in what Sri Bhagavan has taught. Not blindly, but of course whatever he says is happening. So let us see. The point here is, we should switch to practice. We can go for these preliminary practices if we are not able to straight away do vicharam. Bhagavan would often quote a statement from the Bible, "Be still and know that I am God." This is a very quintessential statement. See, we want realization, right? We want self-realization for whatever reason it is. Okay. What is the obstacle? The mind. The mind keeps disturbing us all the time. Mind is divergence. When you say divergence, it keeps going like this, keeps expanding like this with its thoughts. So we have to narrow it down. We have to convergence. We have to bring it to convergence. When the mind converges, merges in the self, we become still. And in that stillness only we come to know that we are that God that we had been praying to, that we had been searching for. This is what Advaita says. So be still and know that I am God. Does it mean sitting like this, but the mind running? No. The mind should be still. The body could be moving about. The mind should become still. Be still and know that I am God. How will you become still? Even breath observation helps. Just observe your breath or learn pranayama from competent teachers and do, because that involves breathing in, holding the breath and then releasing it in a systematic fashion. Bhagavan himself has said that you have to learn it from a competent teacher only, because there are dangers involved in it if you do it wrong. So, be still. We should remember this. Be still and know that I am God. Maybe we can write it and put it on the wall. In my room from the university days, I used to always write messages, put it on the wall. Or you can do it on the mobile screen, whatever is convenient. Or you can type this message and put it on the car dashboard. Even Bhagavan has said reminders are necessary, otherwise the mind will drag you towards worldly affairs all the time. Before you come back, 2 months would have passed. Oh, I forgot Advaita Vedanta. So, be still and know that I am God. Breath observation leads to that, Om chanting leads to that, or any other mantra of your liking leads to that. The point is, mind has to get one-pointed. If the mind has to get one-pointed, we need to be focusing on only one thing. Then mind subsides, then we become still. And if you abide there long enough, Bhagavan says, if you abide there, the Atma will do its job. He says there you can only abide there in the self by seeking the source of the I thought. You cannot do anything beyond that. He says the beyond will take care of itself. There is a quote in the Talks book. So being still is important. We saw triad. And Bhagavan talks about a state in which the I thought doesn't arise at all. In Tamil he calls it Nanudiyad Ulla Nilai. Bhagavan has been there in that state only. He often said, like how you find it very difficult not to entertain thoughts, a jnani finds it difficult to entertain thoughts. So when the mind subsides, mind will be there. It will not go dead. When we said mano nasha or mano destruction of the mind, it does not mean the mind will be completely surgically removed. No. It will become sort of dysfunctional. It will lose its power. It will become a burnt rope. It will become like the sun in the daytime. Moon in the daytime. Sun will shine bright. The moon will be sitting in some corner like a pale disk. So subsidence of the mind leads to this stillness, and in that stillness only we will realize our true nature. That stillness is nothing but samadhi. So I will sum up. Theory is not enough. If I draw an apple on this paper and I give it to you, please eat, it will not satisfy your hunger. Okay. So theory is not enough. We need to move to practice. And practice is necessary. Bhagavan has insisted many times. We have to become still. If you become still, you will know that the God whom you had been worshipping is none but you, Advaita. And we need to set aside time on a daily basis, even if you are busy, like how we portion our times and how we ration our times to different aspects of life. We can keep one portion for Atma Vichara, because ultimately, if not now, after n number of births, we have to come to realize our true nature and be in that total perfect bliss and peace that we are. It is an inescapable system. So those people who are hungry, of course, they go for food. Those people who are thirsty, they go for water. So let us hope that all of us are thirsty. Let us give some time to practice. We will continue.